It's U of L Today on 93.9 The Ville. Here's your host, Mark Hebert.
And welcome to U of L Today with Mark Hebert on 93.9 The Ville. This is the show about all the great stuff going on at the University of Louisville, where we talk about research, we talk about great students, and here in just a minute, we'll talk about some of the great programming for students at the University of Louisville. So on the show today, is there a way to predict a heart attack by figuring out how much calcium you have in your arteries? That's right, calcium can be bad for you. And we'll talk with U of L cardiologist Henry Sadlo. But first, it's been 20 years since the state of Kentucky, the University of Louisville, and JCTC cut a deal with UPS to help Louisville's largest private employer find more workers. Metropolitan College was born. And here to talk about it is George Poling, who's the director of Metropolitan College, along with Tina Chesher and Kim Saylor from UPS. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having us.
George, good to see you again.
It's good to see you as well.
What is Metropolitan College, George?
Metropolitan College is, in my opinion, one of the most amazing education, workforce, and economic development partnerships ever developed in the States. It's a partnership between, as you said, the University of Louisville, Jefferson Community and Technical College, the state of Kentucky, the city of Louisville, and most importantly, our corporate partner, UPS. And what it does is it helps stabilize the workforce for UPS. It allowed them to expand their operation here in Louisville. And then it provides educational support and wraparound services for the students in the program. So for a student who wants to go to college and doesn't know how to pay for it, this is the best place to do it. They can get a job at UPS, and they can get free tuition at U of L or JCTC or both.
Or both at the same time. All right, Tina, what do you do?
I'm a recruitment specialist, so I actually have an office here at the university in the SAC, so I'm able to interact with students all year round. During orientations, when parents come through, they're able to peek their head in and talk to us, because, sometimes there's that little bit of concern as a parent, and they want to know is this real and is it doable? And so it just puts their mind at ease and gives the student a great start. So I get to spend a lot of time building relationships down here, and it's really been a wonderful 20 years.
So you're employed by UPS,
Absolutely.
But you work on U of L's campus.
Yes.
Recruiting
Correct.
students and talking to their parents and assuring them that everything's okay, right?
Right.
All right. And what do you do, Kim? What do you do for UPS?
I work closely with our Metropolitan College partners on the administration of the program benefits, the tuition, book, and bonus benefit of the program.
All right. Well, let's talk about a typical student who is a Metro College student. Who is the, I know that's a broad question, but who is the typical student, and what hours do they work at UPS, and what hours do they go to school? I don't know who's the best one to answer that question.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's a very broad question because we have students that are brand new, first-time college students right out of high school, and we have students that are returning to the workforce because they need to retrain for some reason, so they were looking for another part-time job through UPS. So it's really across the board, but the bulk of our students are traditional-age college students who are looking for a way to finance their education and to get work experience through UPS.
So, Tina, these kids, you're basically talking 18, 19-year-old mostly, who come to U of L, maybe don't have a way to pay for college, right, and say, hey, I can go to UPS and get this done, right?
Absolutely. So they come and they work with us. We encourage them. There's a lot of work that's done on the front end, talking with this student to make sure that they're going to be successful in the program. So we encourage them to take their classes a little bit later in that morning, so sometime after 11, 12 o'clock in the morning hour, and you spread those out. And then they work with us usually from 11 to 4, and then we talk with them a lot about
11 p.m. to 4 a.m.
That's correct.
Right.
11 p.m. to 4 a.m. Yes.
Right. And then they go to class, and they come home and go to class, or what do they normally do?
Well, the hope is that they're going to go home, go to sleep, wake up, go to class, study,
okay,
rest a little before they go to work. But
Okay. And Kim, what are the benefits to the student? Do they get a paycheck from UPS in addition to?
Yes, they receive a weekly paycheck from UPS, and then they are also eligible for employee benefits offered by UPS, such as insurance, medical, dental, vision, life insurance, vacation time. Those are all benefits that are packaged at UPS. But as a Metropolitan College student, you're eligible for 100% tuition paid at the University of Louisville or Jefferson Community and Technical College. an opportunity to participate in our academic bonus program, where a student has an opportunity to earn up to $13,850 in academic bonuses, as well as book reimbursement up to $65 per course. So it's a wonderful way for a student to be able to work part-time for us, receive a weekly paycheck, and also receive full tuition benefits and graduate without any college debt.
If he can do it. And George, you and I have talked about this before. We're talking with George Poling, by the way, who's the director of Metropolitan College, along with Tina Chesher and Kim Saylor from UPS, about the Metropolitan College, the collaboration between UPS, JCTC, and the University of Louisville. We've talked about this before, that this just sounds like a really difficult thing to do, to work overnight and then, sleep and then get up and go to class. So is there a certain kind of kid or student that you have that can handle that kind of schedule?
You have to have a lot of will and just be willing to work hard. I think one of the things that we've realized over the years is it is difficult. There's no doubt about it. And working in the middle of the night was one of the problems that UPS had a hard time staffing. So before the program started, people were staying an average of 8 weeks on the job. Now they're staying about 200 weeks. So it's a huge difference in the work retention. But I think one of the things we've realized over the years is that college students these days are all working somewhere. They're all working a part-time job, sometimes 2 or 3 part-time jobs. So in that respect, it's not that difficult. But I think what our students have an advantage over other students that are working outside of campus is that we've got student support for them. We've got a student development team that works with them on a regular basis to help support them, to help advise them as to, when they should be sleeping and how they should take their classes and how to get through the program. And we've got support services at UPS as well. So it's a really rich program. So in addition to the financial benefits, there's a lot of support to help the students get through it.
And Tina or Kim, as I recall, I was a reporter when this all happened back in 1998, and it covered the state's deal with UPS. And as I recall, there was programming actually at UPS at the time where kids could go get help with their studies or things like that. Is there still that component of it that on site that they can go get some help on site?
We have our human resources staff, and we have an education support staff in place at UPS that can assist the students with general program questions. If they do have any advanced support, we would recommend them to follow up with our Metro College partners, as the counselors are on the campuses.
Right, so they'd find George and find some of your folks to get some counseling help or some tutoring, that kind of thing.
We've got staff on the campus here on the Belknap campus, and we've got staff at JCTC downtown and JCTC Southwest. So we're covering all the bases. But to your point, when we first started, we thought, well, let's try to offer some classes at UPS. And it worked right at the beginning, but then students felt like they were missing something and they wanted to be on campus.
How do you view Metropolitan College? How do you describe it to folks who have no idea what Metropolitan College is?
First of all, I'd just like to say it is an amazing partnership. That's the first thing I think about the program. It's a wonderful partnership between the University of Louisville, JCTC, and UPS. And in this partnership, a student is able to come to work with us on our night shift and have their tuition paid for, as long as they meet the program requirements. And those program requirements for the University of Louisville are a 3.0 and a 21 or better on the ACT.
So you got to keep getting good grades, though, don't you, George? Even while you're in the program?
You do. You have to get a C or better in order to get the tuition paid for.
Okay.
And we see that that's what most students do.
Okay.
The vast majority of them get A's, B's, and C's. We have a few students that will drop a class, and then they're responsible for paying that tuition. But for the most part, they're doing very well.
Do they have to keep a certain number of hours as well, Kim, or not?
The students do not have a minimum number of hours that they have to keep. However, in order to be eligible for academic bonuses, the students must take and successfully complete a minimum of 6 credit hours to be eligible for
per
our
semester.
Bonus
Per semester.
program,
Okay.
yes.
So,
And it's a good question that you asked, because one of the things that our staff encourages the students to do is to start part-time. Because you mentioned earlier in the segment about how difficult this is. And we want to make sure that new students particularly don't take on too much. We don't want them to be full-time students and starting the job and trying to get adjusted to the night shift and all of the things that go along with just going to college in general. So we encourage them to be part-time, which is why this academic bonus program only requires 6 credit hours as a minimum to get that bonus on a regular basis.
How many U of L students are signed up to work at UPS this fall semester? Ballpark?
We don't have the full number yet because they have until October 15th to sign their agreements. But on average, we had about 1,100, I think, last year in the fall, and about 700 at JCTC, so close to 1,800 or 1,900 total.
1,800. And those kids from JCTC that are going for their 2-year degrees, a number of them, don't they transfer to U of L? So you're keeping students that first start at JCTC, then transfer their credits to U of L and finish there?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And do they keep the bonus and all that stuff intact
Yes.
as they move from JCTC to U?
It's a seamless process, and we work closely with Ultra, which is the University of Louisville transfer program. They are co-housed with us on the JCTC campus. So we have our students talk with them immediately if we know that they're planning to transfer, so that it's a seamless process and everybody gets the goal that they want to get.
And Kim Saylor, what's the overall benefit if a U of L student can get done in 4 years, which doesn't sound like they can because you don't want them really taking 15 to 18 hours a semester. But if they can get done in 4 years, what's the benefit that
The
they
total
get?
benefit for tuition, book reimbursement, and academic bonuses is over $61,000.
That's a chunk of change.
Yes.
Plus, they're getting paid on top of that. They're getting
Absolutely.
whatever,
Right.
I assume minimum wage, isn't it? Is it a minimum wage job, most of them?
Our package handlers start at $10.35 per hour.
Oh, so it's better than minimum wage.
Yes.
Okay. But it's not the easiest job in the world. You're doing a little bit of sweating out there, but if you're getting...
It's not the easiest job, but the other thing that I think is amazing about this partnership is that these are part-time employees, and UPS is ponying up full benefits. After they've been there for a year, they're getting full medical, dental, all of those benefits that a full-time employee would get. And the other bonus is that the tuition is deferred. They don't have to come up with the tuition and then get reimbursed. If they come in and do what they need to do with our staff, they sign an agreement, that goes to the bursar at either school, and that defers their tuition until the end of the semester, and then we pay.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I'd like to add is that they can also take summer classes. So we talked about the fact that we want them to start out slow, but they'll gain momentum, and then they can also utilize those summer classes to be able to catch up and stay with that flight plan.
Right. So once they get in used to the schedule and...
Correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right.
They're working year-round, so we encourage them to go to school year-round.
How many of these students wind up working for UPS after they get done with their college careers? Do you have a big chunk of them, Kim? Do you know?
We do have some students that do further their careers at UPS. Sometimes it's in fields that UPS is looking for the talent pool, and that would be finance and accounting, engineering, information technology. We do have a large number of students that do stay with us. However, we have an equally large number of students that move on to other careers outside of UPS.
And Tina or George, maybe this is a better question for you, is when you're talking about students that graduate from the University of Louisville, if they've been through Metropolitan College, do employers out there understand what Metropolitan College is in Louisville, Kentucky, and realize the tough schedule and the dedication they've got to go through? You're a student that's pretty darn committed to getting the work done.
In addition to the support services that I mentioned, we've got a full career development program in place. So the students that go through our program are required to complete a resume that's vetted by our staff. They have to do a mock interview. They do experiential learning, and then we help them tailor their academics to whatever career they're going into. And employers realize that these students have all of the skills that they're looking for from the academic side, but they also have an incredible work ethic because obviously they've had to go to work in the middle of the night. They've done well with UPS, so they've learned a lot of on-the-job training.
Any final words about Metropolitan College or a final pitch to high school seniors who are getting ready to go to U of L or JCTC?
Sign up.
Anything else?
It's not too late. Come out and see us.
Okay, there you go. So if you're trying to figure out a way to pay for college, you 17-year-olds that are seniors in high school at Louisville High School, well, here's a chance for you to do it, right?
Yes.
Okay. I appreciate you all being on the show. George Poling, the director of Metropolitan College, along with Tina Chesher and Kim Saylor from UPS. Appreciate you being on the program and the 20 years of Metropolitan College in Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah. Dr. Henry Sadlo is an assistant professor of medicine at UofL and the head of the cardiovascular disease prevention at UofL Physicians. He's here to talk about a calcium scanning program that might predict if you're going to have a heart attack and other issues surrounding your cardiovascular health. Henry, it's good to see you again.
Thank you, Mark.
How are you, sir?
Letting me be here. So what you started off with, I drank a lot
calcium.
of milk. And one thing people need to know, the calcium that builds up in plaque and arteries has nothing to do with dietary calcium. So make sure people
drink the milk. Milk's
keep
okay.
drinking the milk. But what you want to do is avoid the inflammation in the arteries that leads to the inflammatory process. That's what puts calcium in the arteries. It's a byproduct of inflammation in the heart arteries, brain arteries, any artery in the body.
Well, I don't think anybody I didn't have a clue that calcium even was in your blood, potentially in your arteries and in your bloodstream. I've heard of calcium deposits like on bone spurs kind of stuff, but I never heard of it in your arteries.
Well, the fortunate thing about it is what it provides for us clinically is a marker where we can find plaque in arteries with a simple CAT scan before it ever causes a heart attack or needs bypass surgery and things like that. So it provides a very valuable tool. The more calcium that's built up, the higher your risk is. A group, primarily some people at Johns Hopkins, 15 years ago, started a large study called the MESA, multi-ethnic study of atherosclerosis, and which is plaque. That's the fancy doctor term for plaque, atherosclerosis. Okay. But so coronary artery disease, coronary artery plaque, coronary artery calcium, atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, they're all the same thing.
All the same stuff. Okay. So when we hear those terms, they're interchangeable.
Interchangeable.
And you talked about this scan that you can do. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the scan you can do for the calcium?
So this is a CAT scan, just like anybody would get a CAT scan of your brain, your ankle, CAT scan. But the advantage is there is no dye injection needed because calcium is radio-opaque, meaning it will show up on an X-ray or especially on a high-sensitivity CAT scan. So, and the other good thing is the type of scan that we've set up at the University of Louisville, other hospital systems in the city have it too, but it's very low dose radiation. It's about the same amount of radiation that a woman would get with a mammogram. So here we have a tool where we can pick up heart disease earlier, and it's not expensive. We probably lose money at the University of Louisville Radiology Department. It's $99 for a whole CAT scan. That includes everything, interpretation. Mm-hmm. So it's a tool where people that are at high risk can find out earlier than just waiting for a heart attack or angina to happen.
And what does it show? What's a bad CAT scan going to show me? Just that there's a blockage in an artery?
Yes, what it'll tell us, it will pick up, first of all, the only score that you can get that's normal is 0. Even a low score like 3 or 4 or 5 means you have some early calcium buildup. So the score is counted by the CAT scan computer, and my record score was 6,600, which is astronomical. The arteries almost look like bones.
Well, that guy's going to die tomorrow?
Well, fortunately, we were able to put 2 stents in him, and he's still doing well, and his shortness of breath went away that he thought was just getting older. But that's one of our success stories, one of many. But we've had people with lower scores of 150, say, that had a 99% blockage because they didn't have a whole lot of calcium, but they had additional soft plaque. So we don't see the softer plaque. So it's a marker. It's a very helpful tool. Mm-hmm. We can put people into the low, medium, or high-risk groups. And then the medium and high-risk groups, we do further testing. Or we put them on a cholesterol medicine, and we tell them to do all the smart things that you and I know to do.
Yeah, of course we know what to do. Whether we do it or not, that's a whole other story. We're talking with Dr. Henry Sadlo, who's an assistant professor of medicine at UofL and also the head of cardiovascular disease prevention at UofL Physicians. When you get one of those CAT scans and it shows a significant amount of blockage of calcium in it, can you say, Mark Hebert, you got a really severe blockage. If we don't do something about that, you're going to have a heart attack within 2 months, or you're going to have a heart attack within a year. Can you predict that?
So not with the scan itself, because I have 3 or 4 patients that have very high scores over 2,000. So they've got a lot of calcified hard plaque in their arteries. Most of that's genetic. Most of these people have never smoked. They exercise. They look ideal body weight like Mark does here. Mark keeps fit. But anyway, but these people genetically have plaque buildup, but they've taken care of it. So their plaque is hardened and may not cause angina, may not rupture and cause a heart attack. So it's a good part to start, but it doesn't give you that answer. You need to get a further test, nuclear stress test, stress echo, and in some cases we go straight to heart catheterization, which is a dye test, putting dye in the arteries. If someone gets one of these scans and has very high risk features, that's uncommon, but it does happen.
All right, Henry, let's talk a little bit in broader terms. What is the cardiovascular disease prevention unit at ULP? What do you do?
Well, Dr. Andrew DeFilippis is one of our...
I know Andrew. He's been on the show a few times.
And so he headed it up even before I came to University of Louisville. And so he sees patients. Dr. Shahab Gafgazi is one of the 3 of us that we focus a little bit more on this. Dr. DeFilippis does some research, works a lot at UofL Hospital. So probably of the 3 of us, I'm more of the person that sits in the office, and a guy will come see me as a new patient and say, my brother just unfortunately dropped dead of a heart attack at 45. What can I do? Mm-hmm. And then I take over.
Okay, and that is out at St. Matthews, isn't
it?
It's not, or is it downtown?
Our new University of Louisville office is at the Springs. We just opened that up. It's very nice. We can do tests in there in the spot. Since we're not a hospital facility, some of our charges are more economical for people as opposed to if you get a test done at the hospital. They're allowed to, they have higher costs. But so we do that. And then, of course, Dr. DeFilippis and Dr. Gafgazi are down at the University of Louisville. They also have some nurse practitioners working with some dietitians. They don't try to focus on just one aspect. They try to take care of the whole patient.
So if a person wants to find you guys and thinks, well, I got a history in my family or something's going on, and I just want to get some tests to see if I'm at risk, they can come out to the Springs out in the East End, out in Dutchman's Lane, and get a test.
And then even better, this test can be ordered by any physician, nurse practitioner, or PA in the city of Louisville that has a Kentucky medical license or an Indiana medical license. So basically, let's say one of the internal medicine doctors, Dr. Kathleen Morris out at Jewish Northeast, or one MD, Dr. John Varga, wants to get one. Most hospital systems have this program. I'd like to brag on our radiologist, Dr. Garth Beach, who's a Hopkins Harvard trained guy, and he gives the most detailed report of anyone in town. So we've done between 700 and 800 of them now. But anyway, the primary care doctor, we have a brochure on the ULP website. All they need to do is fax an order to the University of Louisville Department of Radiology. So they do not have to see one of us. We'd obviously be happy to do that, especially if they don't have a doctor. That's a problem. But any doctor can order this test.
All right, let's talk about heart disease prevention in general. What are some of the things that are the markers or that can predict that I may be at risk of heart disease? Is it always my family history, or is it something else?
Well,
or is that just one thing?
The family history is the absolute largest. So what I do for people, I take my hand and the digits of the hand, and the smoking is one, diabetes is another, hypertension is another, hypercholesterolemia, high lipids, and then the biggest is the family history. So all 5 of those, we look at that. The more of those you have, the more at risk you are. There is something that people can go on their phone and look up the ACC risk calculator. It's a tool that people can use. They have to put in their cholesterol numbers, their blood pressure, but it's pretty simple. But the problem is they don't have a family history factor in there. So that tool is somewhat helpful, but it doesn't answer all the questions.
If my father or mother, my direct descendants, have had a history of heart trouble, either one of them, am I likely to have heart trouble?
Yes, surely if both of them do. Now, if your father was a 3-pack-a-day smoker,
it might have been something else, right?
But that's the problem. Let's say that he has bypass surgery at age 60. Well, we don't know how much is genetics, how much is lifestyle and smoking and eating improperly, lack of exercise. All those are risk factors. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to know. Well, we now have a $99 scan that says, hey, unfortunately, you've never smoked and you've been healthy, but unfortunately, your score is 300, which is in the moderate plaque category. and you're at risk, even though you've done all the right things.
Right. We're talking with Dr. Henry Sadlo, who's the head of cardiovascular disease prevention at UofL Physicians, and he's also an assistant professor of medicine at the University of Louisville. And when you talk to patients that have a family history like this, they come in perhaps for the test. What do you tell them? Do you tell them? Do you ask them right then? Hey, do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you do? I don't know what are all the other things you mentioned. You start with that, but then what do you tell them?
Well, what you just hinted on is critical. It's important for whether it be a nurse practitioner in a family practice office or myself. It's very important to get a detailed history of the risk factors, and even more importantly, or equally importantly, the symptoms. Do they have tightness in their chest? Do they have chest pressure? Uncomfortable feeling when they exercise? Are they short of breath without a good explanation? Do they have unexplained fatigue? All that is part of what I take into consideration. Now, if I've got someone that's just anxious, they want to know if they have heart disease, their mother and dad are both living in their 80s and they don't have any risk factors, I say, you do not want to even get a small dose of radiation because you don't need this test. So it's important for people that don't need it not to get a small amount of radiation.
Well, let me ask you, as a guy that used to do surgery, right?
Well, I used to do heart catheterizations and
yeah.
find the blockages. Yeah. But my friends, Dr. Sam Pollock, Dr. Steve Etosh, and now Dr. Brian Gansel and his group, they do the surgery. They've done a great job. They do the big surgeries,
right?
They've done a great job over the years.
Well, I want to ask you about cholesterol because 10, 15 years ago, everybody was on cholesterol drugs. If you had an overall cholesterol count of 200 or better, chances are they were putting you on some sort of cholesterol-fighting drug. Nowadays, you're hearing more and more that there are side effects and other things, and it seems like doctors are backing off that. Is that the case? That they're or what? I mean,
yes
what do
and
you guys
no.
recommend?
The experts tell us more people need statin medications and other medications than are on it right now. But there's clearly a group that may be on it that don't need it. So if someone is having some muscle aches or minor side effects from a statin, that's the most common, and yet they get a coronary calcium score of 0 and they get a carotid ultrasound screening, and if they have no plaque, then those people will take off, tell them to work harder and diet and exercise. So not one size fits all, but it's important. But there are clearly side effects.
So all the commercials we're seeing on television don't necessarily believe all the claims that you may not be somebody that necessarily needs it?
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of the it's attractive in the New York Times if they say statins are bad, they cause memory loss in the elderly patient. Well, that might be 1 or 2%, and those people will take off of it. But the problem, that scares the other 50 to 60% that need it. So that's unfortunate. I have to work against that. I have to correct that.
I gotcha. Is there anything else out there, any new research or anything out there that is doing a better job of potentially predicting heart attacks in folks?
Yes, we're not there yet. In fact, I just read an article this week in the Journal of American College of Cardiology, which is our Bible journal, but they're doing a little more detailed test called a CT coronary angiogram, where they do inject dye. It's a much higher dose of radiation. They're working on this test, CT angio of the coronary arteries, because what they're looking for, they can also see the soft plaque in addition to the calcified plaque. The softer plaque with a thin cap is the one that's at risk for heart attack. They're trying to find a way to define that without a lot of radiation, without a lot of expense. And then if we can say that these plaques are likely to cause heart attacks, does it help us if we put a stent in there, even though the blockage is only 40%, which normally we wouldn't, but if it's a high-risk plaque. So that research is going on right now.
That's good stuff. All right. And if folks want to find you, where do they find you, Dr. Henry Sadlo?
Okay. Well, I have something that I'll give Mark with our address at the Springs.
You got a quick phone number? Or
yes,
it's at the Springs out in the East End, out in St. Matthews.
The exact number is 6420 Dutchman's Parkway. We just moved into it about 6 months ago, Suite 375. Or the phone number is 502-588-7010. And then University of Louisville has a website where you can pick up either myself or Dr. DeFilippis, Dr. Kafkazi, depending on if you want an office visit downtown. Right. And once again, I have a lot of good friends working with Norton's Baptist, Jewish Hospital, Hardin Memorial, plenty of other great cardiologists and primary cares in town. So just make sure you see someone, especially if you're having symptoms.
Okay, very good. Dr. Henry Sadlo, always good to see you. Thanks for listening to UofL Today with Mark Hebert, and go Cards.